Good evening and welcome to it. It is the OMU podcast with your host, Nato Machele. And today is no different. We've got another awesome Old Murite that we're going to interview today. So our guest today did a double major in economics and accounting. He moved over to do his board exam for the Chartered Accountants of South Africa, and he obtained them. And then in 2022, he moved over to a country so remote that some people have this theory that when you get into his triangle, you get lost. I'll let you know who we're talking to, but before that, guys, I remind you every episode to please link up with us on our social media pages. That is on Facebook, that's Instagram, and on LinkedIn. You can also grow our YouTube community by simply subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button and the bell notification so that you can be informed every time we upload a new episode of the OMU podcast and everything else that is OMU related. So for now, sit down, relax, and enjoy my interview with Nathan Dennis. We're coming all the way from South Africa, obviously, and we've got somebody that's very, very far away. So the first thing I want to know, before you tell me, or you tell us rather, where you are, Nathan, I want to know from you, are the stories true about the place, without giving away the place, and you know what's popular about that certain place? Are the stories true about that place?
To be honest, I've mixed messaging, but yeah, there definitely have been a few incidents that people don't know how it happened or what happened. But I personally haven't experienced anything, hopefully yet or not yet. But yeah, it's definitely mixed messaging, and maybe I'm indoctrinated in that I can't spill the secret.
Ah, man. Okay, cool. So in case you were wondering where our good old Murite Nathan Dennis is at, he is all the way in the not Bermuda Triangle. I almost said Bermuda Triangle. He's all the way in Bermuda. So in terms of geography, now I know Mr. Francis will be mad at me for this one, but in terms of geography, where exactly is Bermuda?
Yeah, it's a good one, and you could probably describe it in many ways. Like people would say 7 hour flight from London. It's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, pretty much surrounded by nothing but sea. I think the closest point of land is Charlotte or in North Carolina in the US. So it's about a 2 hour flight to New York City. 7 hour flight to London. So it is really isolated, but it's not, it's quite a quick flight to civilization.
Cool. So, I mean, you're very, very far away from home. Like you are in a remote place, like one of the most remote places in the world, actually. I want to know your journey before you got to where you are right now. Where did it all start for you? So basically, where are you from? Where did you attend school?
Yeah, that's definitely going down the memory lane there. So yeah, I was born in P, well now Kabeja, and obviously raised in Uitenhage with my mom and my brother, and yeah, attended College Hill. I guess the typical Uitenhage story. Went to College Hill, and from there on, started at Muir in grade 4. Mrs. T was my very first teacher, my actual class teacher, together with Mrs. Bayman. And yeah, I spent my time at Muir College all the way until matric. After school, I went to Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University before it became Nelson Mandela University, and yeah, studied by like a BCom Rationum, which is like a double major in accounting economics, in pursuit to just become a South African chartered accountant. After my degree, I then did like a postgraduate diploma in accounting. And after that, which was quite a grueling year, I started with Pricewaterhouse in Port Elizabeth. So I did a 3-year training contract together with, passing my 2 board exams
Mm.
and the competency framework, and ultimately I qualified to become a South African chartered accountant. And then at that point, I've always wanted to travel. Once I did my first overseas trip, the travel bug kind of bit.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
always the case.
yeah, I find it's quite a liberating moment, and it kind of opens up your perspective, and that's what I really enjoy about it.
Mm.
And since then, yeah, I always knew I wanted to travel. I just never thought it would be a place like Bermuda.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably a really high level in a nutshell.
It's like a
on,
bucket
on
list.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
cool, man. You actually segued yourself into my next question. So I'm not even going to go into that one. But I want to know from you. I mean, Bermuda, when I think about it, I'm thinking, is it close to the Caribbean islands?
Yeah, so that's a lot of people, long answer, no. And a lot of it kind of gets lumped in with the Caribbean, so it's actually not
Yes.
technically part of the Caribbean.
Mm.
Definitely doesn't have a Caribbean, all around Caribbean climate. So if you think of like, Jamaica, Bahamas, like Cayman Islands, they're really much warm
Mm.
constantly throughout the year, where Bermuda definitely has a winter, which I quite enjoy about it. Definitely goes through has a seasonality all year round. So, currently now tomorrow is our first day of celebrating the start, unofficial start of summer.
Oh,
So the
awesome.
humidity will start kicking in. But, so that's where we'll kind of experience quite a nice climate, and probably all the pictures that everyone sees about Bermuda being nice and sunny and warm. But yeah, when I first got here, I was like, it's quite cold. It's quite freezing. That
Yeah.
cold Atlantic wind certainly gets you. And the main mode of transport, yeah, in Bermuda is a scooter. So
Ooh.
that's currently what I drive, a scooter. And late at night, working overtime, and you're coming home, and it's raining, and the cold Atlantic wind is just pelting onto you. It's
It's like
you
probably
just want
feels like Cape
to.
Town.
Yeah, probably maybe a little bit worse. It's been a very long time since I've maybe experienced the Cape Town cold, but from what I hear from the Cape
Yeah,
Townians, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty bad
All right. So
too.
what is it like living in Bermuda? You said it's surrounded by water, so I'm imagining it's an island. So
Yeah.
what does it feel like? Sort of, how did you assimilate to the culture and the life around a place like that? Because I can only imagine that shopping and doing all sorts of things that you are used to here in a bigger country, all of that changes. So how have you sort of adjusted to life in Bermuda?
That's a great question, and it's definitely be challenging. I think that's quite what I've enjoyed about kind
Yeah.
of moving, and kind of setting myself up is to try to be independent, and I think when I go to a grocery store, it's definitely one difference that I think back to home,
Yeah.
South Africa, is that you go to Pick and Pay, right, or go to
Yeah.
Woolworths, and you don't have to worry about like how big your trolley is at the end of your shop, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're just gonna put that in the back of your car and you're gonna drive home.
Mm.
Now, when I go to the shop, I'm thinking, can I fit all of this on my scooter? Like, do you have enough room now? If I, if I get milk and this, can I fit it into my bike? I'm not sure. I'll have to get this tomorrow on the way back from work. So it's probably my greatest challenge when I go shopping, and obviously also the price. Like
Yeah.
you buy bread, you buy milk. Mince, ironically, is probably the cheaper one
Mm.
to get, and it comes to a couple of, could be easily over $100. So yeah, that's also been an interesting adjustment, is just to kind of keep track of the price of
Mm.
things, and not to maybe spend your month's salary on indulging yourself at the local marketplace. But yeah, that's been one aspect, and I think the other thing is, it's definitely like with Bermuda, the housing situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, being an island, housing is quite, it's not vast. It's quite scarce.
Mm.
So it's kind of, living, when your rental does come up, when you have to change, that's also been one aspect where you have to kind of really plan in advance in terms of where
Mm.
you're going
Mm.
to live.
Cool.
So it's definitely, the Bermuda has a lot of beautiful aspects to it, and I think just from the living is very different from South Africa. Very, very different. And but yeah, I'd say I've been here for over 3 years now, and kind of acclimatized to it and kind of used to it, kind of used to at first the challenges I first thought were quite new.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So now let's go back to school. I want you to share with me a fond memory that you remember about in your college.
And geez, I honestly I have so many, and I really do have so many, and I think the first thing that definitely comes to mind would be the 40 days, towards the end of the trek, and yeah, there's probably one incident which I find really funny, and our year group 2012 were quite known for being like a really nice, well-behaved year group and really good.
Look, they said to all of us.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, I heard that before, and then I don't know. There's a few other year groups. I'm like, maybe we are. Okay, maybe it'll leave this a little bit. But yeah, generally we were like really sweet, innocent kids. Or yeah, most of us. And then on the last day, on those 40 days, I think we all just went a bit crazy. I think we wanted to just show, we've got this. We can too be a bit, crazy. And so I don't know what we were doing. I think we were going around singing and like knocking on classrooms, or I think interrupting some of the classes. And then eventually we heard Mr. Francis he was looking for us. And so we naturally went and hid as brave Murites, and we hid in Miss Freebird's office at that time. And it was probably like over 20 of us, and we were just scattered all around Miss Freebird's room there. And I can still remember it was like Shane Gowan, Jared Bosco, and they were just perched underneath the desk, but with their bottoms facing the door. And I think I was hiding behind the door. There's a few of us hiding behind the door. Miss Freeberg is just sitting there smiling, just marking. We locked the door, and then the next moment we just hear like this stern, assertive knocks. And so Miss Freeberg gets up, goes and opens the door, and then in walks Mr. Francis, and he just has that classic Mr. Francis look, and he just looks around, looks at Shane and Jared's backsides, and he just said, "My classroom now." And I think we were all like actually terrified. We're like, we regret this a little bit now. So it's kind of it's definitely one that I always laugh at. And I would say just generally the teachers in general. I've got honestly so many good memories, positive impacts from my school days.
Awesome, man.
Really do, yeah.
All right. So my next question is, we've had a couple of reunions since you've left, and attending a reunion is such a special part of being an old boy, especially at an old boy school. And from yourself being a head boy of your year group, it must have been a huge thing for you to come back. I don't know if you've come back yet for any reunions. I'm guessing 2022 was your 10-year?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. And yeah, unfortunately, I really wanted to, and that was the year it was the year that I'd moved to Bermuda. What was the year after? I can't remember, but it was just the timing of it. I think it was in August, and just from the work perspective and the flights and so on, I couldn't. Yeah, and it was a really difficult decision, and it was a big one. And I was kind of working with OMU to try and get the class. Obviously, it was the year of my class reunion, so I definitely do regret not being able to. But I know in future we'll definitely make for the next milestone. I think.
So you haven't been to any reunions?
No, not yet. No.
Okay.
No,
It's fine. It's okay. I mean, as long as in the future you're planning to go, because it's a wonderful occasion, especially when you are on the other side, of the gates. Now I want to know, are you still in contact with some of your high school buddies?
Probably not as much as maybe others. And I think that's quite unfortunate. It's I think one thing that probably keeping in contact is quite difficult as you get the job and life happens. But now and again I definitely do keep in contact with a few, message for like key occasions, or see if someone's getting had a child or that. But that's it's probably one aspect, and listening to the podcast and that kind of wanting me to do that more and maybe prioritize that going forward. And I think, as you said, the 10 years fly by so quickly, and before you know it, life is completely different, and it'll be good to see where everyone is, and kind of hear their journeys and
Yeah.
what's happened in their life. So definitely going forward, that'll be something I want to work on.
Cool. No, you've got all the time in the world, man. So you don't have to rush it. You can, whenever you can, sort of start working towards that. So now my next question is one that is usually a tongue twister for me, because of the way that I sort of ask the question, because I really want to truly understand, how important going to a school like New College is to other old boys. I know what it means to me, and I know what it's instilled in me as a man today, and the values that I stand for are deeply rooted in what I learned from teachers like you, like Mr. Francis, Mr. Schreiber, Mr. Stevens, some of my coaches, Mr. Moodley. So they sort of created this well-rounded person, even though I came into myself a bit later. But as an older person now, I can look back and sort of say, okay, I've learned this from here. Like, for instance, just a simple example. I lived in a hostel. So waking up in the morning, the first thing that I do is I do my bed. I make sure everything is clean, the way I dress, my hair. Okay, I'm also in a remote area, so it's hard to sort of get haircuts. But in essence, the discipline and the keeping myself neat aspect of my life has truly been crafted from going to a place, going to a school like New College. I want to know from you, how has New College helped you be the man that you are today?
Yeah, and it's fantastic question too. Yeah, it's I think that's my answer probably be quite long on this one, as it's probably be more recent examples that probably help with this. But overall, I think honestly, Muir College for me was just a great experience. It really from grade 4 onwards, through the challenges that you face when growing up as teenager and kind of reaching that adulthood eventually. The support system that I definitely was presented with from teachers, from friends, just the culture of the school itself was so meaningful and kind. I think that really does reflect on who I am now, and it's probably a lot of it's I don't even realize that there's probably the impact this school has made. But
Yes.
some pure examples would be Mrs. Bayman. I look back and something that I've always actually been wanting to reach out to tell her is just her impact at the school, from just building the chess program. Right, I got involved in chess at Muir, probably around like grade 5, so on, and eventually I worked and I got such an enjoyment from it. And that was from her. I don't think she played herself, but it's just her motivation just to get the game going, and she just took control over it. And now, I represented Eastern Province for like 6-7 years at Muir, and to this day now, it's like one of my greatest passions. Right, it's something that I find meaning in life, and I'm to the point now where I'm going to represent Bermuda. It's this international event in September.
Oh, okay.
So I'm playing at probably like one of the highest levels for a country. And that all stems, and I attribute that to Mrs. Bayman, right? And then that's just kind of her impact that she had on me.
Yes.
And I think back of it very fondly, and I hope she hears this and kind of gets wanted to know that that's kind of the deep impact that she made. And just another recent example is my matric accounting teacher, Mrs. Pochita. And she during my matric year also, it was quite a very challenging time, and she was very supportive, and so many of the other teachers were as well. And for her, she always spoke about her son that was actually in Bermuda, and she was going to visit him that June. And she went. She said she's first going to New York. She stopped off in New York, went to Bermuda, and then she came back, and she actually still got me a little present, a little key ring from like the Empire State Building. And I was like very touched by that, the fact that she thought of me, and that she knew what I was going through that year, and she just took an interest in me as a person and wanted to see my growth and help me get through the kind of the difficult spell. And now that I think back, I'm now in Bermuda. uh, her son works at HSBC. I'm actually starting a job at HSBC in the coming months.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you. I saw a photo of her on Facebook, and I reached out to the mutual friend where I saw a photo of her. I'm like, do you have her number? Because I want to tell her, that I'm actually in Bermuda now. She always spoke about Bermuda in
Yeah.
school. And I reached out to her, and she actually said she's coming to Bermuda to visit her
Oh,
son.
man.
And we met up yesterday. So it's perfect timing. We met up yesterday, and it's been 12 years since we've seen each other,
Yeah.
and we had a good catch up. And to this day, I've kept the keyring that she gave me at school in its original. I've never wanted to use it to scratch it or anything, so I kept it, and I brought that with me to Bermuda 3 years ago. And she met her, and I showed her the keyring, and she was absolutely taken aback by that.
Jeez, man, that's official.
And also, the one thing that she also stole during that school time, she gave me a quote that said, "Tough times never last, but tough people do."
Yeah.
And for me, that's always been a quote that's since leaving school that I've always kind of fallen back on. It was quite meaningful. And again, there's just another example of the impact of the teachers at Muir College, that have definitely had an impact on my life. And still to this day, right?
Yeah.
Still to this day going forward, and even with my colleagues, it's kind of the advice I try and pass on to them, things that I've learned from my days at Muir.
Sure, awesome, bro.
Yeah.
I think that is a very it's like a 360 moment almost,
Yeah.
that you're explaining, and it's amazing how sort of life works its way into you. Because I mean, for her, it's almost like this is what she imagined for you, and you went on like that manifestation sort of played out, and she got to see you in Bermuda. So it was that awesome story, bro. Okay,
Yeah.
so my next question is a more serious one, but let's try to keep it as short as possible. I want to know, what life lessons can you share to other Murites? I mean, other old Murites, rather.
Yeah, and you told me to try keep it short. I'm definitely a talker, so it's probably I'll try my best. Yeah. Life lesson. I would say probably more recent is, definitely coming to Bermuda, and life has definitely thrown a lot of challenges, and I'm sure for everyone that's the case, right? We're all going to come through difficult situations, either through relationships, friendships, work, whatever it may be. And I think with life in general, it's just really the pace of it has quickened a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think in that stage, people can kind of maybe lose themselves in the moment, because life is so upbeat, and you just living from day to day.
Mm.
And I think in that moment you might lose yourself a bit, and lose your path, and lose what your purpose in life is.
Yeah.
I would say, to the young Murites, is to always try and find and work on finding, like, what is your purpose in life. And I think once you find your purpose in life and find that inner peace, once you're comfortable with yourself in a room all by your own, and comfortable with your own thoughts, no matter what life throws at you at all, I think you'll be able to handle that a lot easier and a lot better, and come through it happier. So I'd say that's definitely one piece of advice. It's to not forget. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we're reaching the embers of the interview, and I want to know, right, what do you think is your biggest achievement thus far?
Wow. Yeah, I think personally, my biggest achievement, honestly, getting my chartered accountant designation.
Mm.
And really for that is that was 8 years of commitment, right? I think that's why I say life can fly by. It really was just pure dedication to the studying, to work. A lot of sacrifices were made from a personal side. So it's definitely probably been one of my more greatest achievements. And just I'm very supportive of my family too. They've been a very big part of it. And I think kind of celebrating the achievement with my family, it's definitely a team effort. Has been something I'm very proud of. and that's allowed me to, kind of move to the middle of the island in the middle of nowhere.
Cool. So my last one, and then I'll let you go, is I want you to send some greetings to the fellow old Murites that are all over the world.
Oh, just like a general greeting to everyone.
Yeah, just like a message of encouragement.
Yeah, no matter where you are in the world, definitely don't forget your roots, and
Yeah.
don't forget, the friends and family that you may have still in South Africa, or if you are in South Africa, just cherish where you've come from, and don't have any regrets. Life's too short. Don't think about what could have happened. Live for the day, and take one day at a time, and just strive to be a better version of yourself for the future.
Cool.
Yeah. Mm.
Nathan, it was a great interview. It was very good talking to you, and best of luck for your new job. And I hope
so much,
that you thrive and succeed and change the world over there in that small part of the world that you're on.
So no pressure at all.
No pressure. I mean, come on, it's an island.
No, thank you very much, Inhedo, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, and no, really, really appreciate it.
Cool. Enjoy the rest of your day. I don't know whether it's day or night. I don't know.
It's just gone after 1 p.m. So
okay.
It's still the middle of the working day.
Cool. I'll let you get back to work then.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Cheers, man.
Bye.
Unfortunately, another episode of the OMU podcast has come to an end, but do not despair. We'll be back again in 2 weeks' time with another awesome old Murite. But guys, don't forget, I always want to remind you to please communicate with us on our social media pages. That is on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram. It's either the Old Murite Union or OMU. You will find us over there. And most importantly, we want to grow our YouTube community. So please like and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell notification button so that you can be notified every time we post new content up on the channel. So with that said, it is the end of another episode, and I'll see you guys again on the next episode of the OMU podcast. I'm an old Muir boy. Of course, I'm second to none. Cheers.